Um, all right, guys, I think we'll start today. Before we start and welcome our special guest, I would actually like to start with a small brief about who we are and why we are here and what we're going to be talking about. So yes, I mean, I'm going to talk about the fact that this webinar, of course, is going to be conducted every Friday. If you feel like, your doubts are not solved after this webinar, you can join us again next Friday at the same time, and I'll be available solving the same queries. Or you could always call our helpline number, and then you can reach out to our consultant and then or advisor, and you can see how that goes for you. Um, Also, to begin with, I also want to quickly ask a poll. So I hope y'all are okay with me asking you a quick poll. Uh, yeah, I've just started a poll. I hope you all quickly answer it. Okay, so let's start with the first question that some of y'all have heard of about us and some of y'all have not. So far it was 50-50, but now it's gone to more not knowing about us and less people knowing us, knowing more about us. And I've also asked about, uh, a lot of people are finding it very hard to find a job in the US, and some people say that they're able to find a job, but then they don't know reliable ones. And I've asked also if at all you think your portfolio is job market ready, and most of you all have said yes, or maybe you know it. All right. So to begin with, why I'm asking you all these questions, these will come into play now as I address on this. All right. So to move forward, yeah. So Elevate Me is about we are this online bootcamp service that provides your end-to-end solution to you getting hired into a full-time role into one of the best companies that are out there in the US. So now that can be from building your resume, upskilling yourself in terms of the skill sets that are required in the job market. Apart from that, also applying for jobs on your behalf and helping you get shortlisted in companies to get interviewed. So all this comes into play. So end in end, where we help you with your resume. Then let's say you don't have any technical skills or you need some brushing up in your technical skills, we can kind of add that. Apart from that, if you need like, personal mentor to kind of help you answer queries like, your mock interview or behavioral skills, etc. There's that. Then let's talk about work experience per se, where there's a capstone project that will be given to you, which would be added as your real-time experience on the resume as well. So that adds more value. And apart from that, there's an entire team that is sitting there to apply for jobs for you on your behalf and get you shortlisted in the right company. Apply for over big chunk of number of resume job openings in comparison to how much a person can do all by themselves. So there's a team of more than 5 to 10 people sitting there applying for your jobs, and here you are the single person who's applying for the multiple jobs that you're applying for. Now, as we say this, our aim is very clear. We want to empower our international students to get their full-time jobs in the US and live their US dream. And to do all this, we are of course accredited by the Ohio State College. So you can find us on the on the website as well, and you can see that we are listed there as a school, and that we've placed some of our alumni are listed there as well. So yeah. Now, like I said, what do we do? A technical mentorship and then a personal mentorship. So there are these two major key roles, but I would say your career service, your personal mentorship is something that you're not going to get anywhere else. That nobody's going to sit down and help you crack your mock interviews, help you crack your behavioral interviews that are going to be scheduled for you. All of that, how to really tackle that, that's something that you will only get here. A job search, soft skills training, all of that, like that entire service that comes into play, that's something that you will actually not get anywhere else. Now, why I say anywhere else is because a lot of us may have come across a lot of consultancies that are, uh, you know, pushing you to also, they say that they'll start your marketing on from day one, and then they're going to apply for hundreds of jobs on your behalf and get you shortlisted. Or they sometimes, what they do is like they take your resume, they add like fake experience into your resume. All that also ends up happening. So I hope that this is something that after this webinar you realize that this is not what we do. So far, all clear. If at all you have any doubts, any queries, you can just drop it into the Q&A box and then I can pick it up. Yeah. Now, also this, we come with a 8-month money back guarantee, which means that from the day you have started working with us on paid us, and since your sign up date starts, from then to 8 months, you have 8 months to ensure that you get your full-time job. If let's say you don't, you get your money back, provided we both have finished our due diligence in terms of like submitting the resume on time, going for the interviews on time. There's no lag behind from your end, and there's no lag from our end as well. Of course, like if at all that comes from our end in the sense where our mentor is not available to you and you were not trained on time, and etc., and due to which you had an issue, of course, then you're fully eligible to get your money back, and no questions asked here. 100% money back guarantee, completely. So I will now quickly open the floor for Q&As, and also just quickly want you all to talk about the live project that is there. And just give me a moment until I just want to invite our guest who's going to join us. Uh, hmm, okay, there's somebody who's asked me a question. After 8 months, no progress, whole amount will be refundable. Yes, it will be. If at all you think we will not give you your money back despite everything that you've done, I think that's it. You can ask our candidate as well. I mean, you can get in touch with our admission advisor. They will help you solve these queries for you, in fact, like to have you get your trust for sure. And in about 2 minutes I'm going to have our guest, so I hope you all are looking forward to it, and I hope you're able to like enjoy the session that comes into play. And they will also of course like kind of talk to you about all this, where what was their experience with us and how long they were with us, how soon did they get their job, all of that. Yeah, please do go ahead, ask me more questions if you'd like to. If you all can see, we have a new panelist joining us, uh, and that's welcome Kaustubh. I hope you're doing good. I'm so sorry. uh, I hope my voice is clear, my audio is clear, my video is clear, everything's good.
Yeah, all good.
All right. So everybody, we have Kaustubh here who's joined us, and Kaustubh is somebody who's worked with us previously and was a candidate with us. And I'm going to ask him a few questions that will kind of help you understand how we do the process and how he kind of gained any benefit from our end. And to begin, before I get into those questions, I would also like you all to know Kaustubh a little bit. So, Kaustubh, if you could start with just telling us who you are, where you're from, and where did you study, and your journey in the US, and just a little bit about a small brief about yourself. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So hi everyone. My name is Kaustubh. I did my master's in computer science from Stevens Institute of Technology, in New Jersey. Prior to that, I have worked in India for a couple of years as a software engineer, a backend engineer. Uh, Talking about US experience, I worked here at the starting as a machine learning intern, then as a machine learning engineer, and finally I've joined as a data scientist at one of the startups called IOHealth. So that's a bit brief about myself. Niti, I think you're mute.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you for telling us about a little bit about yourself. Could you tell us about how you kind of were looking for jobs, and how did you kind of end up with us, and how did you find us, basically?
Sure.
Like,
I graduated in May 2024. So after that, I was, of course, looking for jobs, something full time in either like machine learning, AI, that sort of thing.
mm-hmm,
So I was contacted by Elevate Me, I think in September, or maybe in August or September, sometime around that time. And I found the process to be quite different than other consultancies, all of these things. Um and yeah, I mean, I gave the assessment, the mock interviews, and everything, and I was selected. So yeah, it started in I joined the October cohort, I believe.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you give the assessment, like, what was the assessment like? Did you feel that was tough and something that kind of made you feel like this is something that we're doing uh, logically? Like, why the assessment? Like, how did that experience go for you?
So I feel the assessment part and the interview part before joining Elevate Me was kind of something mm, that was quite different from all the other consultancies. That's what one of the features that attracted me towards you guys were these assessments, these interviews before, like you vet me before you start to market me. So just to
Yeah.
gauge my competency levels and all those things. So that's quite a good step. Like I really like that.
All right. And did you find the assessment to be tough per se?
Um, it was like it was challenging. It was sort of like medium hard difficulty. But having said that, that's something quite common that
Mm-hmm.
we hear while applying to jobs and these kind of. It was on the similar level like all the assessments that we usually get.
Got it. And apart from that, could you also tell us about how your interview was with the after the assessment, and what was your next step? Like, could you just help us about how long you were here with us, and what was the initial 10 to 15 days with us, and what were you asked to do, etc. Yeah.
Sure. So, the interview, my interview, before joining Elevate Me, Michelle took that.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, she's a career coach here. So, she took that assessment. She asked me a bunch of behavioral questions, tried to understand my projects, my resume, and all those
Mm-hmm.
things. So it went quite well. With her, like I got selected, and prior to that, I had already cleared the technical assessment. So after that, I was offered to join Elevate Me, and then after that, I think initial days were. At first, there's onboarding, like they'll explain you a bunch of systems, the LMS, the what you need to do for the technical training and all those things.
Yep.
And then you get a week where you don't have a lot of like technical stuff, all those assignments to do yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that week. I submitted the mock interviews. For those who are not aware, like there's a two-step process to before the marketing begins. So there is a behavior three-step process essentially. So there is first mock interview videos that you need to record, then you need to clear the mock interview with the career coach, then you need to clear the technical interview with the technical mentor. So
Yep.
that is what so my focus for the first week was to, record those mock interview videos, which were a bunch of behavioral questions. They are quite a lot, so it'll take some time to record all of them and then send it for review.
Yep.
And after that, I think this was the initial week or 2 weeks, and yeah, that was that.
Yep. And after the first, could you give us a little bit about small changes in your mock interview? Like what were few behavioral changes that you kind of didn't know before, and now what could you do better after working with Michelle per se?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the important things that she guided me quite well was to change my answers, use the star methodology. I was using it kind of without knowing it at some places, but she guided me on how to use it for all of these frequently asked questions, like tell me about yourself, why do you want to work for this
Yep.
company. These are all the frequent questions, and having like prepared all of these answers, like talked over it with Michelle and everything,
Mm-hmm.
kind of helped quite a lot, I would say, uh, because for people who are already here, like generally the case is like they are quite decent technically, they just don't know how to present themselves,
Mm-hmm.
how to, because interviews here are a bit different from where I'm from, originally.
Okay.
Having said that, those behavioral, mocks were like very important, because what they did exactly was to help me, prepare for think about all these answers before I even
Yeah.
in give the actual interview. That
Okay.
quite helped, because I have already thought of everything, and then, you know refining them with Michelle was like I was done behavioral part wise, all of these, so it
All
was
right.
quite, yeah.
That's nice. And apart from that, could you tell us about how did you get placed and etc.? I mean, in the sense of like the interviews that we were giving you, in the sense where like what kind of interviews were you getting, and were you able to answer them whenever those interviews were scheduled for you? Were you feeling confident enough to be able to take them and go ahead? Yep.
Sure. So yeah, I mean, the kind of preparation I got here was mostly like, for me, it was just for me. I was mostly concerned about behavioral part, the way to talk, how to present my projects, how to, change my answers a bit from company to company, how to research those companies
Mm-hmm.
before the interview. That is something that was like the kind of guidance provided was quite helpful for me. It might be different for different people, but that was something that was very important for me. Other kind of interviews I got were so I since I had experience both ways as a software engineer, backend engineer, so and machine learning side. So I had
Mm-hmm.
exposure with building as well as deploying machine learning and everything. So
That's nice.
I got interviews in developer roles, as well as a bit of
Got
the
it.
machine learning roles.
Fair enough. That's quite nice. And to go more ahead, like, could you just help us with understanding a little bit about, like, currently what, as students are like, what are your challenges that you would look back and be like, this is something that I can do better, and how probably whatever decisions today you've taken has helped you, basically. Like,
Sure.
because all of these guys are right now looking for the same issues, right? All of these are guys are worried about how soon will they get the job, and will they get the job, and how's the market like, and how this service per se will kind of help in a way or out or not, like whatever you feel is right here. And at the same time, like, what are the few things not to be worried about when you do come here at the same time, like, yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, first, about the job market, it's starting to get a bit better. Like, especially the Feb month, the Jan and the Feb month was quite fruitful for me, as well as a couple of my friends that I know of. So it's starting to get better, and like the uncertainty part is always going to be there, but again, the key is to stay consistent. If you're applying by yourself or by through a consultancy, just do it consistently, like every single day. That's something that Elevate Me did quite well. So, like they were consistent. They applied jobs every single day through, a bunch of means and all those things. They were reaching out to people and everything. The one key advice would be, if you want to join something, if you want to join any sort of consultancy, it's best to do it early. It's best to do it before your for those who are international students, like before your OPT ends, like way before. So the key is to be consistent and to start early. One thing that I would like to change about that would be to, is not that quite consistent during the August and the September hiring cycle. There are not a lot of jobs. The motivation just goes away. So it's just like you have to understand something, that's the kind of hand we've been dealt, and just do it over and over consistently. And one fine day you'll strike that one apply button that you wanted to. So
Great. And could you, one last question before like we all open the floor for the participants to ask you questions. Could you just brief us about a little bit about how easy your payment plan was with us, or like what is the mechanism for you as a student who came in here to join us with us? And did you feel secure about, like, when you were walking in with us, when you were paying us for the service, etc., all of that bit, like, was that comfortable for you to trust us enough to be able to take the guarantee ahead and, like, be open to that entire experience altogether? Yeah.
sure. So, I mean, there are a couple of things. So, first, like the bank, I took the bank loan path. I took the loan from Telehio, like the guys you have partnered with. So, that part was quite, seamless. Like I don't need to go anywhere or anything of that sort. All of that is online. Uh, Security wise, I think the the thing that like you that I was sure about myself that I would stay compliant, like I would do everything that is being asked of me on time and everything. Like maybe a bit of delay here and there happened, but I was trying to be consistent. So I mean, the terms are quite clear. Everything is mentioned in the contract. So, like, as long as everyone follows that, and
Yeah.
if they don't end up having a job, they have a clear-cut instructions. So it was quite like it was the part which was like good was I don't need to go to a bunch of places. Like I don't need to fake any experience on my resume and all those things, because
Yep.
I don't have to. I don't like that. So
Yep.
that's what.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for this, for great insights of these things. So, guys, like, we have Kaustubh open now, and if you have any more questions, I'm just going to open the floor for questions. If you have any questions, just to answer them, and if not, we can say thank you to good Kaustubh, and probably, yeah. Just give us 2 to 5 minutes, and let's just see how this goes. Yeah, Kaustubh, would you like to answer this question about what was your capstone project that was like, per se, if you did do that with us, and like how was that experience for you?
Sorry. Yeah, sure. So the capstone project is so what I got was like a bunch of data from a a big entity, like big provider. Like I won't say
Yeah,
much
yeah,
about that, because that's kind of real data, like very close
yep,
to the real data. I can't name the company and all of
yep,
those things, but it was real world data.
yep,
Like comes from a company. It was a very messy architecture. The database architecture was very messy, and there was bunch of things there. And so what we had to do was there were stages, so it was not done everything in 1 week. So the first week was you know uh, like kind of getting used to like what all is there. And then the second week is basically you have to build certain queries and all those
Mm-hmm.
things. And then finally you have to model on it. You have to choose the problem statement, then you have to model on it, uh, then you have to model and then make the deployment. And then finally create a like a insights dashboard either through
Mm-hmm.
Tableau or Power BI. I chose Tableau. So it's essentially a bunch of big data, a bunch of data, like a lot of data, and then you choose a, then first you understand the data, then you choose a problem statement, then you get the data out of the database for that, and then model on it, and so on and so forth. So for me, it was um, the like modeling part we have all done a lot of times academic project wise,
Mm-hmm.
but the part where it's uh, it's it's a different experience is the deploying and everything. You get access to Azure Machine Learning Studio. You'll have to eventually deploy it using that. So that was something that I never did, and it was just that like it was good experience
Great.
wise.
Yeah. I hope we've solved somebody's query about how our capstone project is like. Uh, Somebody's asked about, okay, what is the loan amount? We'll probably answer that question, Suruchi, later. Once we like, because this is not particularly related to Kaustubh, I would rather direct all the questions that are related to Kaustubh directly to him. Somebody's asked you a question, Kaustubh.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've not uploaded my experience that the job that I got just now on LinkedIn, but I think Sam, yeah. So yeah, you are right. I was working like as a intern before joining like Elevate Me. So that was not part of the capstone. It was just something that I had to get something to stop the clock per se. So that's for international students. So yeah, I was working as a machine learning intern.
Would you like to answer about like why, if at all, you did use the experience on your resume, like the capstone project, and if not, probably what were your reasons so that they are quite clear about exactly what's happening here? Yep.
Sure. I mean, for capstone, I used the experience about deployment specifically on my resume, not the project, because I have a bunch of
Yeah.
machine learning projects and research papers that I would like to mention in my resume. But I did include Elevate Me in my experience there. Like people here will guide you how to include that in your resume when you join them. So.
Right. Any more questions? We have it open. Um, so do we have more questions, or otherwise we could let Costa go? He's probably taken some time off between his work day today for us, and I hope we are all utilizing his time well. Uh, yeah, I'm just going to give it a minute and then probably we can wrap.
Sure.
Okay, somebody's understood what the experience was like, etc. Okay, I don't think. Okay, Sam, would you like to? Are you comfortable disclosing these questions?
The kind of package. I mean,
Yeah,
I would like to keep the exact number to myself, but it's the market rate. Like, what do you usually get as a data scientist? It's not
that
something very large, or it's not something very low.
fair enough. Basically, does meet the bare minimum requirement as well, whatever is required for you to be fully employed here and everything as well?
Yeah, I mean that and all is covered. It's
Yeah,
like usual market rate, whatever is there for the data scientist.
right. Yeah. Did interviewer ask you about the Elevate Me experience and what did you really push to join Elevate Me, as you had 2 years experience and had internship in US, so better than most of the students basically.
Yeah, I mean, usually the interviewer, like if you apply for the for the data positions and all those, since my resume had something like a machine learning engineer or a senior machine learning engineer, something of that sort, machine learning intern, they were more concerned about my most recent experience, uh, and the kind of like companies I usually target. I go for startups because they are like I have worked at a lot of startups, so that's where my edge is. So they are more concerned about the particular thing. Like they do ask what exactly is it, and I usually tell them it's a boot camp where we have real world projects and this and that. Like there are a couple of things that I say, like it's a set answer, it's not too big, it's just a couple of lines. So uh, that's what they ask. And to answer what really pushed you to join Elevate Me, as you had 2 years of experience and an internship in USA. So the I would say first, like it's always the way I like to think about is this is the first, the market was not that great last year during August to November. Like it was pretty dry. I got a lot of interviews before that, but when the hiring season came, it just kind of dried up. So that contributed to me joining Elevate Me. And then there is me having 2 years of experience and an internship. It's not much. Like I don't consider, there are a lot more people who are way more experienced at way better companies and they are not able to find a job. So 2 years of experience and an internship in US, like it does cut it sometimes for but it doesn't cut it also if you're unlucky, if you're not finding anything. So sometimes it's just not enough. So, and for which role you got placed? I've got placed as a data scientist.
Fair enough. Somebody's also asked if you would give us a strong suggestion. Should I join?
I mean, I can't make the choice for you, but what I can tell you is, um, I mean, if you're having trouble staying consistent, like by consistent, I mean, um, you have to apply above 25 to 35 jobs a day. Like the market is so bad right now. I can tell a bit about my seniors who got placed before me, like in May 2023. So they applied to one of them, he was from MIS. He applied to 1,500 jobs. He got 6 interviews and he got 2 offers. That was the status in
Additional
May
letter.
2023. In May 2023. For us, I applied to before joining Elevate Me, I have a spreadsheet that I used to track it on. I applied to 1,800 jobs, no interviews, one screening call. So after joining Elevate Me, it was like bef- till till January, and I know the data I counted it till then. So I got most of the interviews were after that, but from December, well, sorry, November, December, January, 3 months, over 3,000 applications, two interviews, one assessment or two assessment. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you're having trouble staying consistent, then it's good to join some or the other consultancy or Elevate Me, if that matter. The part that I liked about Elevate Me is they don't change your resume, like fake experience and all that. Second important thing is like they you know they vet you before they let you join. So that assessment and interview, you have to clear that before you join them. So That kind of gave me a bit of confidence, because other consultancies are just like, pay us money and we'll start your marketing. So,
Yeah. Uh,
okay, so mock interviews with Elevate Me team is really helpful for fresher candidate. What do you think? Yes, if you are a fresher, if you are a complete fresher, never worked even after your bachelor's, or if you have just graduated bachelor's, yes, you would want some sort of guidance. If you have a career coach in college and that you can, uh, come talk to and all those things. But yeah, I mean, it will help you a lot. If you are a complete fresher, then you'll want some guidance. Yes. Your last answer confusing me. Are you encouraging to do on my own, or should I take help from Elevate Me? Oh, the so the way to the way to go is up to you. But what I am suggesting here is, if you cannot fight the battle on your own, take a squad with you. That's the answer. So if you are having trouble, if you are if your days are ending, if your OPD is approaching, if you are on a clock, it's better to go with a bunch of people rather than by yourself. Having said that, if you are able to tackle the problem on your own, then why do you spend money? That's the point. Does Elevate Me solely focus on data science or data analyst roles as well? So if you are a complete fresher in the data science domain, they would likely target. That's what happened with me. I did not have much experience in data science. So if you are a complete fresher in data science, they would target data analyst roles or business analyst roles for you. If you have a bit of experience, uh, they would likely target something like a machine learning or a data scientist role, but they target all of data roles. But if you have experience, if you want them to, that's what happened with me. If I wanted them to apply to software roles as well, so they did that too. I had to make a couple of resumes, like different resumes for both kinds of positions. But yeah, so they are pretty flexible. They'll apply to a bunch of roles, but the target would depend on your specific situation.
yeah. Somebody's asked us about if at all Elevate Me runs your payroll experience as well. Did
Uh,
we ever run you on a payroll, have you on our payroll per se to showcase that we were paying you to
no,
stay
no.
back as a full-time employee or something of that sort? Ever something that happened?
No, no, no. So you have to understand, Elevate Me is not exactly a consultancy. It's a career college. So a career college cannot employ you directly. So it's essentially, think of it like a boot camp. They
Yeah.
are not going to pay you, give you STEM extension, all those things.
Yeah.
Could
The next question was about STEM extension.
Yeah, they doesn't it won't work here. So for STEM extension, if there are a lot of NGOs and all those things, I'm sure everyone is aware of that. So uh, some sort of NGO and all those things, you can work on that. Okay, so then how you managed to stop your OPD clock and applied for? I was doing the internship that you see on my LinkedIn profile. So I was already doing that. That's what stopped my clock. And I mean, I am still on my OPT. I did not need to apply for STEM. Uh, Payment option. I think somebody else like Neeti, maybe you could take that. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think the safer option per se, I would actually ask them to connect with our admission advisor on this very bit, because I feel like what's safe, what's not safe is something that you have to take a call on by yourself. So why don't you speak to our admission advisor, and they'll probably guide you about the pros and cons about both the sides, and then you can choose for yourself.
right.
Yeah. Somebody's asked you one last question, and then probably we can wrap it up. Yeah.
That's okay. So last question. So the consultants at Elevate Me will be applying for jobs instead of us in the marketing. Are they going to tailor your resume to match the JD, or we have to do it for every job? Just trying to understand that part of the process. They will be applying for jobs. Uh, so how it works is, when you join them, and when you are giving the mock interview videos after joining. So Michelle, the career coach, will give you a bunch of questions that you'll need to record video answers and then submit it to her. Uh, so during that process, she'll ask you to create your resume, like put your resume details on her template, and then she will review all of those things and tell you a bit how to improve it and all those things. In my case, it was so I took a like AI tool where, and a lot of chat GPTs help my resume. Like ATS wise, it was quite there, but then she helped me, structure it in a, because I had a lot of things on my resume. So she helped me structure it a bit, rewrite some of those things, guided me how to include which projects to include and all of those things. So they will be applying jobs for you. They will be asking you to make changes in your resume. They'll help you do that. But what they are, they might tweak some small details in your resume before they apply to a certain job that requires it. But they will not be creating a complete scratch resume. You'll have to enter all of those details by yourself, and then they'll help you, structure it, make it ATS friendly and all those things. Any more questions? I'm happy to take them for another like 5 minutes. Then.
Okay. Do we have any more questions? If not, then yeah. Okay, Sam has one last question. Go for it, Sam.
Yeah. Maybe you can take that.
Yes, Yash is from the name is from Elevate Me. The name is yeah. Yash is somebody who's working with us. If I'm not wrong, Vijay is also somebody who's working with us. Yes. Yeah. Actually are people, so you don't have to worry about it. Those are actually people representing us. Yeah. Guys, I think we can let Kaustubh go now, and I can just take over the webinar now. Thank you so much for doing this, Kaustubh, today. Thank you. I hope you have a great weekend, and yeah, I hope good luck for the next few endeavors that you come across. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. It was great
Thank you.
talking to you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So now that Kaustubh has left us, we can actually, I'll just quickly walk you all through the process again once more time and one more time, and then basically we can wrap up with any more questions if you guys have any more questions with us. Yeah. So yeah, I was talking about the full live project that we were having here, and then the technical mentor who was here. Portfolio building, like he said, he spoke about how Michelle is going to ask you to modify your resume as per her template and then ask you to record some mock interviews, etc. So you know how each of the steps kind of processed. Yeah. And just a moment, sorry. And I'll just quickly walk you through the duration of the course, how long the course is like, and how would you go ahead about it, and why do we give an 8-month project, a 8-month period as well. So in all, you'll be with us like 5 months, where you'll be working on your resume, your portfolio, your technical projects, your career mentor is going to prepare you for your behavioral skills, etc., etc. So, and at the same time, your job search. So for good 5 months, this will go on, which we will fully do it. In 5 months, usually what happens is like we try to see that okay, sometimes students are delaying where the student is not able to submit the resume or not attending the interviews that are scheduled, etc. Or sometimes we do end up having a hiring freeze, which is very unpredictable by the market itself. So when that happens, we just have to keep a little bit of buffer. If at all that doesn't happen, like probably if there's a hiring freeze that could last for a month, and then we could probably have hiring done again. So due to these unpredictable changes that can come across, we've kind of kept 3 months buffer to be able to ensure that we've tried our best from our end, everything that is possible to get you a full-time job. And if that doesn't happen, then we'll give you your money back. Yeah, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I hope this is something like you get selected, you get shortlisted for the program, you walk in and you start working with Michelle, and at the same time you start working with Archit, Archit is our technical mentor and Michelle is our career coach. So these two would be working hand in hand with you, where they'll help you really build and get ready for the job market. And here simultaneously the team would be working on your behalf to apply for jobs for you. And as interviews come in, you'll be ready to be able to give the interviews and crack them as soon as possible. Yeah. These are some of the companies that we've kind of sent our resumes to. And if you think like we of course will be sending in your resumes to companies that are supporting your H-1B visa or are at least willing to. We are not going to just randomly send your resumes to people and then be like, here, you've gotten a job and okay, now bye-bye. That's not how it works. We'll ensure that, you are landing a job at the right company, at least to be able to move forward with your future prospects. Yeah. What you can see our sample resume looks like if at all you guys were having doubts about how it will be added to your resume, this is how it does get added to the resume, to your resume. If at all you can see there's somebody who's added something like on their resume. Yep. Yeah. So if you at all you guys have more questions for me, please go ahead. Or we could actually wrap up this webinar otherwise. I hope actually having Kaustubh was quite fun, and you did have all your doubts solved. And I hope he did answer your questions well. And if you still have any more doubts, please go ahead and ask them to me. I'll be able to solve them for you. And meanwhile, I'll just quickly see if I can start a poll, because I like taking polls. Yeah. So since Elevate Me is something that is registered as a educational service and it's a boot camp, they are not going to come to us for verification in terms of like, hey, were you employed with us? They might come to us for verification about the fact that if you worked with us for the real-time project, and yes, for that we would for sure back you up and say that yes, you were somebody who did do a real-time project with us. So many of you guys are using AI tools to send in your job applications. I'll have to just quickly break your bubble a little bit is what I would say. Just ensure about the fact that you're able to tailor your resume, because AI bots will actually just be able to take one thing and put it back A, B, A, B, A, B. It's not going to make it A to C, it's not going to make it A to D. So I hope you're sending in your applications well and not losing out on those right opportunities. And yeah, my intention to ask these questions is that we've all been trying to find shortcuts to get through jobs and be able to, like, get done with the job hunt and finally start earning. But I would also like you to say they are all called shortcuts. So I hope you do take those decisions sensibly. Yep. Any more questions? All right, guys. I think if you don't have any more questions, we can wrap it up. Uh, it was such a great session today, and I hope talking to Costa was fun. And I hope I've solved all your doubts and queries. And I hope you did gain some insights after this webinar. And I hope to see you all around and have a great weekend and have a great week. Bye bye, guys. Good evening and good night. Bye bye. Okay, somebody's asked me a question before I do end it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Suruji. Bye bye.